What have we been up to the last 3 years?
It's been a bit of a ride. Hi, I'm Kevin D. I'm the head of design at EVERGOODS, and I just wanted to take a minute to walk you through our new back panel construction with a focus on breathability and durability. When we launched the brand, we always kind of wanted a more breathable back panel, but to be honest, a lot of the sort of common off-the-shelf solutions that you see in the marketplace, they did not live up to our durability standards. It's really common to just see sort of a standard spacer mesh. This is a knit that has sort of a lot of like height in it, and it gives it a little space. You see this in back panels all over the place. I think they look nice when they're brand new. Honestly though, over the long haul, they start to abrade and pill and just generally don't look very nice. We couldn't do that. We launched the brand with a more standard construction, just using materials on hand, and just told ourselves that we would figure it out as we went. We've been working on this for like 3 years, which might sound like a long time, but it's been gnarly. And anyway, I'm really pleased with the solution that we've come up with. One of the primary factors for sort of comfort in hot weather is breathability or air permeability. This refers to the resistance of air passing through a material. There are actually instruments, lab instruments that you can get. You can put fabric on through a little hole and it blows air and it measures the amount of resistance. We worked closely with a lab and tested many different materials and also material combinations during our back panel development. One way you can look at this at home, or if you're in a store or something, if you actually can put your mouth on it, sort of seal your mouth around a fabric and just breathe air into it. And the easier that flow is, the less resistance there is and the more breathable that textile or material is. Anyway, so the first thing we needed to do was replace our foam. The foam that we were using previously is a closed cell foam, so zero air permeability. It's basically a rubber with little bubbles in it, but no air can pass through it. Then after that is like a covering textile. We were using a nylon with a polyurethane coating. Again, almost no breathability. This was a really big actually material sourcing challenge. I went to a lot of shows, I did email and FaceTime with a lot of vendors. We sampled in-house and tested and evaluated a lot of different materials, trying to find the right combination of things. And what you can see in front of you, actually these are all samples that we built in-house for testing over the past 3 years. I became familiar with a process at Patagonia. They've just called it half and half. It's when you make a field test item and there's 2 items that you want to test, you actually take the pattern and split it down the middle so that your pattern possesses, everything's controlled except for the 2 materials that you want to benchmark against each other. What's critical about this process is that, again, it controls all the variables. It's the same person on the same day, same weather, same bike ride, same everything. So we made a lot of these half and halves. I would go on bike rides. Jack took them for mountain bike rides. We'd do hikes in these things. And then we would wear like a plain colored t-shirt. And then sort of at intervals, we would take the t-shirt off and I would just like photograph it. And you could see a line, a lot of times you could see a line down the middle, and one side would be sweatier and one side would be less sweatier. So we record all this information. So in addition to the lab testing of the materials, we did a lot of half and half field testing. So the package it's basically, this is just a test item. These aren't the final materials, but it's the same concept. It's basically a spacer mesh. It's about 1 centimeter thick and it's got pretty good like compression resistance. So we use this as a replacement for foam. You can see right through it. It's highly air permeable. This material is going to be like really abrasive against your back and your clothing. So this alone was not enough. Then we needed to find a textile to cover it with that again is highly air permeable. It needed to be durable enough for use in a backpack, and then also had to have kind of the right amount of slickness. You know, we don't want to be too rough and be uncomfortable on the neck or tear up your sweater or something. So it had to be kind of svelte but also durable, and this was really challenging. What we ended up with for a surface textile is a 50 denier monofilament. Monofilament just means that the yarns are not twisted together of multiple fibers. It's like a single plastic extrusion, almost like a tiny fishing line. So that allows this weave to have quite a bit of space in it for air passage, but also because it's just a single bar of plastic, it's like really compact and durable and not prone to sort of picking or a thorn picking it up or getting scuffed by a thing. It's quite durable. So that turned out to be a good combination for us. Another hurdle which I hadn't anticipated was actually the sourcing. Like this spacer mesh, for example, because of the structure and stoutness of this as a material, cannot be dyed after the fact. Most textiles, they can weave them and then run them through dye baths, and once the thing is woven, you can dye it to any color that you want. This is so thick that the machinery to do that dyeing process just can't handle this type of material. So the yarns have to be woven in advance, or the yarns have to be dyed in advance of this material being knit. That just means that the minimum to create this in a particular color goes way up just because it's so far up in the supply chain. So one of the challenges actually was finding a supplier of a qualifying material that could supply our production needs in a reasonable quantity and at a reasonable cost, which was quite challenging. And then the other thing that we had to deal with was the actual physical cut and sew construction. This material relies on some pretty beefy monofilaments to give it that stiffness and stoutness that helps it act like foam. And when you cut the edge, sometimes these yarns stick out. They can poke through this other really open textile. So we had to capture the seams and do all kinds of work to figure out, if we're going to use these materials, how to actually build it in a way that was reasonable for production and would guarantee that it would be comfortable for the user, especially along the edges of the neck and things like that. So all of this has led to a long, nitty-gritty development. And actually there's been a lot of nuance involved. You know, I've just got spreadsheets and spreadsheets and spreadsheets of data and feedback. You know, you want to say, oh, breathability is the most important thing. Well, maybe our most breathable textile isn't durable enough. So durability is important. Or maybe the one that's next in durability isn't comfortable enough. So there were a lot of factors that needed to be balanced in the end to find kind of the right thing that would meet our standards. And Jack and I agreed early on that if we couldn't come with something that we felt like was better than what we were seeing in the marketplace, we didn't want to do it, or we would just keep working on it until we felt confident to bring it to market as something far and away better than what you're used to. And I think we've done it. I'm really proud of the work that we've done here. And I mean, I've wanted to give up on this many times. It's just been arduous, but I would do it again if we will do it again. Yeah. So getting all of these concerns to finally mesh at the end, the final 5% of the effort of this project was really the bulk of the work and was the crux of the whole thing. But I'm proud of the work that we've done. I think we're delivering something that's better than what you're getting in the marketplace right now. This is the back panel in its final production form. And Jack and I are really proud of this work, and we hope that you enjoy it too.